story may have been based on so-called actual events. A bar in Mexico kept a lion in a pit out back. A man got drunk and decided to show his friends how to pet the lion. The lion tore the man apart. Burroughs tore the story apart and turned the lion into a tiger and wrote it down. Then it got lost. I had an anthropology professor in college who liked to illustrate his points with vivid images. One of his points was that people, not the rest of the animal kingdom, have the market cornered on the monstrous. His illustration involved a lion and a chick. The setting was an African lion sanctuary. A young man or a young woman was holding a chick and thought it was adorable. This young person got the idea that a nearby lion must find the chick adorable as well. He or she therefore slipped the chick through the bars of the enclosure so the lion could admire it. The lion looked at the chick, sniffed it, then very matter-of-factly bit off its head. Like my anthropology professor, I don't believe that actual lions and tigers are monstrous. Very, very good at what they do, being more like it. But I do believe that my eyeless tile tiger, which looks for all the world like it sprung straight out of the pages of Borges's Book of Imaginary Beings, or out of one of Hieronymus Bosch's Bubbling Pools, or out of one of Burroughs' Nightmares, is a monster. I'm very attached to it. I've spent a great deal of time trying to write its heart, uncoil its innards, pump oxygen into its vanished lungs, give it back those eyes. We know what Blake had to say about tigers. A tiger comes to mind, Borges wrote. It has occurred to me to wonder what will happen if I lose another tile, if all I have left are haunches and tail, if all I have left are jaws and teeth. Of course, one day I will lose them all, or they will be lost to me. On the back of each tile is a logo and a stamp that reads, Made in Japan. Recently, my mother told me that there were never 3 tiles, that she had seen the 2 tiles and liked the look of them, a tiger without its middle. History is fiction. Fiction is history. Fair enough. UN story. At the United Nations around the end of the last millennium, identity cards were worn around the neck, most generally strung on cheap, beaded chains. The cards were made by UN security guards at a facility across the street from the main complex. If the guard taking your photograph was nice, he or she would let you see the picture before hitting print. Most of my pictures were pretty good. During the 5 years I worked at the United Nations, I accumulated a considerable number of these cards. I still have most of them, in a plastic bag somewhere in the basement. I don't know if one was required to wear identity cards at the CIA. When one was at headquarters in Langley, Virginia, obviously a CIA officer in the field would not have worn an identity card. A low-level United Nations employee on duty in the field would. When I was sent to cover the signing of the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime in Palermo, I wore my identity card as I walked down the middle of the main thoroughfares, which had been fenced off for the occasion. There we went, alone or in groups, down the empty streets. I liked to walk down the empty streets. Much of the coverage I was doing was of a subsidiary committee meeting in a 12th century Norman palace on the far side of town. The walk took around half an hour. There were parks to negotiate as well as the empty streets. Light came through the trees, and children played on the swept gravel. Away from the town center, life went on, uninterrupted. I would leave my hotel early, so I could take my time. On the return, though, when I had re-entered the town center and was walking along the blocked-off avenues, I felt the urge to hurry, to look purposive. Back at the hotel, I would ring up to my colleague's room and see if he wanted to come down to the little bar for a drink. Usually he was there, and did. We drank Campari without soda or lemon, or we drank under-chilled Italian beer. The lobby around us was swarmed with armed policemen. Some carried machine guns. They were a gregarious bunch, young and rather bored now that the whole thing was underway and no one was being killed. Not yet, we thought. In the evenings, the streets were opened up again and the cars went rushing along, and we took off our identity cards and our ties and went out to look around. I never went to CIA.